Chapter 13. Ice Cold. When they'd heard the order to freeze, the braceros had scattered like buckshot. They'd known exactly what to do, but Danny had been caught flat-footed. Ice had been the last thing on his mind. The agents, who'd leapt from the van and knocked him to the ground, brought him to the county jail. The 100-year-old downtown jail in Ann Arbor was located on the top floor of a two-story rustic brick building. It was built to hold 150 people, and it was full. Over half its detainees were being held on immigration charges. Almost 70% of the population of Ann Arbor was white, but the jail held a majority of Hispanics and Middle Easterners. The Hispanics faced mainly deportation charges, but the Middle Easterners' interrogations had a more national security bent. It stank in here. Danny was sure it was the desperation. As depressing as jail was, he took comfort in knowing that he most likely would be deported. ICE assumed he was an illegal day laborer, and they charged him with removability from the United States of America. More than happy to play along, Danny hadn't spoken a word of English since the moment he'd been arrested. Waiting was the only thing that happened in the holding cell. "What's going to happen now?" he asked the leather-faced man who shared the crowded cell. The man, who looked to be in his mid-40s, showed no signs of anxiety or depression when he casually answered.
"In a week or two, they will take you to a room where you will see a judge on TV. The judge will say you got to leave. He will ask you about your home country. Just say Mexico."
Anybody ever get out of here? Danny knew full well the answer didn't matter. The corners of the man's mouth strayed downward and his head slowly shook.
"Ice once said, Bill, even if they did, no money."
Leatherman said that some of the detainees would be sent to detention centers in other states, and from there to wherever. Because of his experience at Stratford, Danny knew more about the situation than he'd let on. The Department of Homeland Security Appropriations Act of 2010 made funding available for not less than 33,400 detention beds. This directive established a policy interpreted by ICE as a mandate to contract for and fill 34,000 detention beds on a daily basis. The directive would come to be known as the Immigrant Detention Quota, or the Bed Mandate. The Bed Mandate was unprecedented. No other law enforcement agency operated under a detention quota mandated by Congress. But the men sitting in these cells holding their heads in their hands didn't know anything about any of that. At least Danny didn't have to worry about getting out of town anymore. ICE would take care of that for him. He leaned back against the wall. Compared to a charge of sedition, deportation was a pretty sweet deal.